Sean Cunningham has officially addressed the Friday the 13th rumors, and Halloween Ends just dropped a brand new TV spot. We discuss this and more coming up next on Slash and Cast. Welcome back, horror fans, to another episode of Slash and Cast. We're back here again with 5 brand new topics. Not really. They're not really brand new, because most of them are the same as same headlines, different news on the news. New news for the news for last week's news.
Yes.
That makes sense? In other words, we're diving into Halloween Ends again, Hulu's Hellraiser, Evil Dead the Game, and Friday the 13th, but also Tusk 2, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Let's kick things off here with Halloween Ends, a brand new TV spot just premiered on Thursday Night Football, which we were watching together, so it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it's funny. We were actually watching the game, and we were just talking about how the only footage still out there is the low-quality Spanish TV spot that's been going around the last couple days, and then about 10 minutes later, it showed up on our screen.
There it was. And I thought for sure that, a high-quality version would be out there everywhere now, and it's still not really. If you look up Halloween Ends TV spot, it's kind of hard to find still in a high-quality version, but I'll leave a link in the description to the best one that I can find so you can check it out for yourself. But there are a couple things I want to spotlight here. I will say they are still doing a good job keeping things relatively secret in Halloween Ends. In fact, so much so, I'm not sure that we've even seen Michael in any of these trailers so far, the trailer or TV spot. I think every single frame of Michael that we've seen is the copycat killer that Corey Cunningham in this new movie. So that's fun that we haven't actually seen it. And in fact, a shout out to Jimmy Champagne here. He mentions there's a really cool kill. There's only one kill spoiled in the TV spot. It seems to be like a side character. So it's not that big of a deal. And it's paying homage to a kill that we all know from the original, with Bob dying and being pinned to the door. It seems like that's what we're seeing here again. But there's a shot, kind of a close-up on Michael, and you see the lips are parted a little bit. It looks like a cheaper, store-bought Halloween mask, which I doubt it's a legit store-bought. I imagine Corey Cunningham maybe found the same type of Captain Kirk mask out there.
It's possible, yeah. The idea is he's, a super fan of Michael, if you will, kind of a cult following of Michael. So, he recreated the mask, burned it, or just designed it to look burned, whatever.
Yeah. And now he's out there being his own Michael. But, yeah, with the lips parting, it does look... We've never seen that in Kills or 2018. No. It just has a cheaper look to it. So I feel like that's probably not Michael. And I don't know if we've seen Michael ever yet. So who knows where we're going with that. But speaking of a cheap-looking mask, let's talk about the new revealed mask from Trick or Treat Studios. Of course, you can only judge these so much. Trick or Treat Studios has done a great job making very accurate molds. I think the actual design of the mask is solid. It's just their paint job is relatively weak, and that's what happens with a mass-produced mask like this, especially at the price point that they offer these. But the brand new Halloween Ends one was just revealed, which is coming out now on September 15th. The TOTS mask, I would say so far, what I've seen is relatively negative feedback on how this looks. But again, back to Jimmy Champagne, he's been saying for a while that this is what he's heard the mask looks like. The mold on the side, he's been saying that for a while. And we have not seen the look like this in the trailer or the TV spot yet.
Right.
So just reiterating that I'm not so sure we've even seen Michael in the trailer yet.
Right. And, they learned their lesson from the trailers for Kills and Halloween 2018 by not spoiling. I mean, the whole movie was spoiled in the 2018 trailers, and we're like, okay, they'll learn. It ends now.
Yeah. It's those trailers were tough. 2018 literally spoiled the ending of the movie.
Yes.
So now they've learned their lesson, and they're back on a path of just being mysterious. Let us judge for ourselves. Let us go watch the movie and actually learn what happens.
Yes.
They've teased us more than enough. In fact, I wish they wouldn't post another trailer at all. They probably will have one more, usually, probably something right before
in theaters
release.
now.
Yeah, but I would be okay if this is it. We didn't see any other new footage, and we can go judge by ourselves.
Yeah, doing a lot better with Ends than it did for Kills and Halloween 2018, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. But Halloween Ends coming to theaters and to Peacock same day, October 14th. Still the rumors on the two different endings between theaters and Peacock. So you have to watch the movie twice. The whole thing? Hopefully you want to.
Yeah, hopefully it's good,
Yeah.
so you'll want to come home from the theater and throw it on Peacock.
Yeah, that's the key. So please, Halloween Ends, be good so that I want to watch you twice.
Yes.
I don't have to do it just for news reasons. All right, let's move on to our next topic, Evil Dead, the game. Just want to do a quick review, breakdown of the update that just dropped. The Evil Dead 2013 DLC came out with Mia and David Allen, and we also got the free Plague Bringer, as well as a new single-player mission. And first of all, I want to say that the update overall, I think, is the best one we've had so far. They brought a lot of changes to balance, and I think that we're getting there. Like, we're getting pretty close with balance. It's been an enjoyable experience on both sides since this update, at least for me. I mean, I've enjoyed playing Survivor. I've enjoyed playing Demon. I've won and lost as both since this update.
Yeah, just hearing feedback, I'd say it's like 80% positive to 20% negative. It seems overwhelmingly positive, at least from what we see.
Yeah, and the new Demon, I will say, I was worried because the basic units are so similar to the Necromancer basic units that I thought that would feel repetitive, but it doesn't. The animations, like the light and heavy swings, are very different. They have different abilities. Like the basics can do this like spin thing. They spin their swords around, and they have like this crazy dash attack. So it's very different than the Necromancer basic units, and it feels different, and that was kind of key.
Yeah.
And unlike all the other demons, in my opinion, the Plague Bringer is better to go against hunters versus going against warriors.
Yep.
Usually, when I play like Necromancer, I am totally happy when I see warriors. If you come at me with 4 warriors, which you can do now, it's weird. I was on a team with 4 warriors. I was never scared of that, because if you have to come up and hit me, I'm like, yes, cool. Like I could take you down pretty quickly, or at least do a lot of damage. Now, with the units being a little bit weaker, doing less damage on their normal attacks, as well as the boss as well. She goes down pretty quickly. The witch goes down pretty quickly. You don't want those warriors just bundling up on you and beating the piss out of you. Hunters, like that, usually you're scared of them because their range damage is so crazy. You just go down so quickly with Necromancer units. Now, like, because the Plaguebringer has such a range attack, she has this crazy little like force shoot thing she's got going on. It's a little bit more, I think you'd prefer to go against hunters versus going against warriors, which is different than every demon so far.
Yeah.
The big thing I want to spotlight from this update is the single-player mission. There's a brand new single-player mission where you play as David Allen, and you go against Mia, and there's also like side objectives going on, which is different than any mission we've seen so far. Optional objectives. It turns out those optional objectives are way more important than I realized.
Yes.
So there's 2 things that came out of those optional objectives. One, if you grab Ash's hand, you have to take on Pablo. If you kill Pablo fast enough, a random necklace, Linda's necklace, pops out behind the cabin, and Annie then spawns if you go grab the necklace. So there's that. That was a random thing. I don't know if it leads to anything else. So we might still be figuring things out. Who knows? But if you don't do the side objectives and at least go get the page that's over in the manor and whatnot, and the syringes, you have to fight Mia and all 4 Ashes at the same time at the end. So those side objectives are actually more important than I originally thought.
Yeah. That's
cool. There's like a narrative going on.
Yeah, this is the first mission that has like a narrative going on with it, and you were invested in it.
Yeah. I love that type of stuff. I want them to keep doing that, and it would be a lot of fun to continue exploring that. And even seeing like Ash and Mia communicating with each other, it would be a lot of fun. So, and the blood rain, that was actually something that we didn't know about. So it was in the mission, and that was cool to see. But it's also in multiplayer. The blood rain's in multiplayer, and like it covers the road, it covers everything on the map, including your character. So you can see your character covered in blood in multiplayer with blood rain. And that is so cool.
So cool.
It was really cool to see. I didn't think they were going to do that. And then, last but not least, if you do beat the mission, of course you get a couple of new screamers, and I think it's just screamers. There's 3 different screamers you unlock, and then the newest Nobi tape, which gives us a little bit of a new interaction between Kelly and Pablo and Professor Nobi, establishing the story of why all these characters are in the same universe, because they are connected to Ash, and Professor Nobi's trying to get Ash, but instead is getting his friends. Or the people that know him.
Yeah,
So,
that tape was really cool to listen to.
yeah, I'm excited to hear more. I'd like to see some stuff with David and Mia. In fact, a lot of people I know wanted to see a tape that had them come along this new update, but they're going in line. They're in a narrative right now, and they're going in a specific order for that reason. But overall, hey, I'm satisfied with the update. I'm excited to see more DLC, and I was worried that the reaction to a remake DLC would be bad. And I was nervous when I saw the first reactions when it was announced, that people just didn't know what it was or didn't like the remake, which breaks my heart. But so far, everyone seems to be buying in and really enjoying the new characters, and that's cool to see.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Next topic. Hulu's Hellraiser. Back to it. A new image dropped from USA Today, and it's again of Jamie Clayton as Pinhead. This one shows a little bit more detail. It's a kind of a wider shot on her, and you see some pretty gnarly practical effects going on, or at least I believe to be practical effects. Seeing inside like wounds and her throat's open, it's a pretty gruesome look.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and this is where we talked about it last week, the budget of having Hellraiser with more of a budget because of the whole Hulu release is really going to help it out. The last few Hellraiser movies just haven't had money behind it, so you can't do cool things like we're seeing with Jamie Clayton as Pinhead. So I'm still very, very much impressed and excited to see Hellraiser.
Yeah, absolutely. Hulu's Hellraiser has been rated R for some very Hellraiser things, including strong bloody horror, violence, and gore, language throughout, and some sexual content, and brief graphic nudity.
But only brief, but graphic.
Brief and graphic?
Hellraiser is a very BDSM type of
Yes.
movie and book. If you've read The Hellbound Heart, it's always been like that. Clive Barker will tell you that. It's how it's always been.
Yes.
So, makes sense. At least a little bit of some gnarly stuff going on there on that side of things. We also did get a look at the Lambent configuration. It's not a ton of details there, but it looks good. It looks like the Lambent configuration. At the very least, you shouldn't fuck that up.
Right.
That's what I would say. The Lambent configuration should at least look solid, and it does. So that's a cool new image as well.
Yeah.
It's, again, directed by David Bruckner, who did The Night House. I think David Bruckner is going to do a great job. I think he's a great choice for this. And we're not far away from that. Less than a month now. Coming to Hulu October 7th. Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely looking forward to that.
And about everything else coming out in October.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, dude, there's a lot. Like, it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming. All right, let's move on to our next topic. Back into Friday the 13th. This one, not so much rumor-filled and with a lot of conspiracy surrounding it. In a video from the Nightmare Corner on YouTube, link in the description below, they reached out to Sean Cunningham and just asked him. I mean, straight up like, yo, what's going on with Friday the 13th? So I'm going to go ahead and just share you that clip now, and we'll talk about it afterwards. Take a look at this clip from the Nightmare Corner.
Hey, Chris, this is Sean Cunningham. Getting back to you because I didn't get back to you last week about Friday the 13th. And bottom line is I have absolutely nothing to report. The decision to make Friday the 13th, if we ever make it, is out of my hands. Of course, I support the idea of making another Friday the 13th, but right now there's nothing at all that I can tell you.
So not too much there, really. And I don't want to, it doesn't surprise me. Like, what was Sean really going to say if somebody to him is random, that he doesn't really know, reaches out to him, asks, hey man, when's the next Friday the 13th movie coming out? What's going on? He's obviously not going to be like, oh yeah, we're actively working on it. It'll be out next year.
Right.
But he does seem pretty honest that he doesn't know because he's not directly involved. And this is something we've been talking about. How involved is Sean Cunningham really with Horror Inc. and all of this lawsuit jumble? And it makes sense that Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham are just letting their lawyers do what they got to do.
Right.
There's so many other parties involved in F-13, like your New Line Cinema owning the trademark and things like that. It makes sense that Sean Cunningham doesn't have too much of a say on those types of things.
Right. Yeah. And glad that he did, decide to address it, even though it wasn't really a response maybe most people were looking for. He could have ignored it. If it was a cameo, he could have declined it.
Right.
If it was just an email sent, he could have just never responded. But he chose to, and I respect that.
Yeah, exactly. I respect the fact that he addressed it,
Yeah.
especially because a lot of the rumors spawned from his cameo bio. So it's nice that he was willing to say something about it.
Yeah.
It is cool as well to hear that he does support it.
Yes.
If they're making a new movie, hey, go for it, please. I want to see it as well. And I hope he's involved. If they do make a new movie or a TV series or whatever is next for F-13, I would like to see Sean Cunningham stay involved.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels right, to have the original director involved in some way, shape, or form. It's like John Carpenter helping, even subtly, with Halloween requels and kills and whatnot. Yeah. So I'm for it. I hope Sean Cunningham stays. But maybe that's not the news you wanted to hear, but it's the news nonetheless. Moving on to our last topic of the day. Extremely excited about this one. You may not be, and if you're not, that hurts my feelings a little bit, but Tusk 2 has finally been legitimately confirmed by Kevin Smith and is actively being worked on. So during the new episode of the Fat Man Beyond podcast via Geek Tyrant, Kevin Smith confirmed that he's actively developing a sequel to Tusk with Justin Long expected to return. I love Justin Long so much. I like Tusk. Dude, do you remember the first time we saw Tusk? It was just the weirdest experience ever. I
mean, seen so many different horror movies. Like, Tusk is actually one that makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know about if gross is the right word. Just, it's off.
Yeah,
it's off.
It's quite the vibe. It really is. It is an interesting movie. And at first, I think it only made like 1.8 million upon its release, which is a shame, but that's kind of what happens with these weird movies. Since then, because it had kind of a hit on Netflix, it jumped up a little bit there. So it got a little bit more respect and a cult following, and it's been requested quite a bit.
Right, and the connection with Yoga Hoosiers and other projects, and even little podcasts, little things that he's been doing.
Yeah,
everything's been integrated together.
Yeah. So Kevin Smith, because of the 10-year anniversary, this is kind of where all this, we're getting close to the 10-year anniversary as Tusk came out in 2014. So, all right, here's a quote from Kevin Smith from the podcast. Ever since the heart attack, I've been living on borrowed time. 2024 will mark the 10-year anniversary of Tusk. We could just leave it there and move on. But I've got some story left I'd like to tell. There's a reason we left him in the zoo at the end. I always knew as we were making the movie, I was just like, I'll totally do this again. I thought we'd have the late, great Michael Parks with us longer, but sadly he's not. But I know we got Justin. So, hey, he's excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And he actually continued saying, early on, I was always like, well, eventually they'll take him out of that walrus skin and try to rehabilitate him. And then just like Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight Returns, he'll only ever see himself one way. Then he becomes the Howard Howe. Justin Long becomes the crazy guy who's been trying to turn people into something else. Chimera things, half human, half whatever. Last time it was a walrus, this time, you'll see.
Yeah, so Justin Long is going to go down a dark path and continue the legacy?
I love Justin Long.
I love Justin Long. Seriously.
He can be that goofy guy, but he can also really turn it around, and it'd be really interesting to see how, messed up mentally he is from the whole experience of the first film.
Yeah. How much further can you really take this insane story? I'm excited to see where Kevin Smith wants to go with it. And as long as Justin Long's there, I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously, Justin Long is like a Matthew Lillard to me. A actor that is in some beloved horror movies of mine I grew up with, but doesn't get nearly as much credit as he deserves. I love Accepted as well. It doesn't matter what movie Justin Long is in. I'm for it.
Yeah, he's also one that, can hop in and out of the horror genre.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in Jeepers Creepers.
Right.
Did many other things, comes back for a couple different things, including Tusk.
Yeah.
And, it's cool to see him come back.
Can he please hit the convention circuit?
Please.
I want to meet him so bad.
That'd be awesome.
That would be great. But Kevin Smith also revealed that he is calling the sequel to Tusk Tusks. So not Tusk, but Tusks.
Tusk 2?
Nope, just Tusks.
Multiple.
It already feels like a complicated word to say.
Tusks.
Yeah. If you try to talk to your friends about it and you're like, well, was that in Tusk or Tusks? It's just going to create a weird conversation.
Yeah.
It's going to happen right here. I guarantee it. On this show. It's bound to happen.
Let's do it.
And its plan is also to bring Tusk to the big screen in 2024 for the 10th anniversary, which would be very exciting.
You think, 2024, that's so far away.
It's not.
2022 is very far away from 2021, and we're almost done with 2022.
That's true. Time flies. Yeah. This reminds me, a little bonus news here for you. Supermassive Games recently announced that they're working on another big project like The Quarry, and it's not coming out until 2025 or 2026. I was like, oh man, that's so far away. But I guess it's really not. It's not too bad. It's 3 to 4 years.
Especially because it's going to be officially announced probably in 2024 or 2025.
Right.
Maybe a year release date.
Yeah.
Games like that usually get like announcements well before the release date.
Yeah, it's a little weird that one of the devs was even willing to say anything about it.
Right.
It's like, well, there's no specifics whatsoever. We have no idea. But
that was definitely interesting. Yeah, like, hey, we're working on something. It's going to be huge. See you in 5 years.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
3
to 4.
It's still 2020.
It feels like it sometimes.
Sure does.
The last 3 years have been pretty wonky, for sure. Yeah, that's all our topics for today. Let us know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and drop a like on this bad boy. Huh? Every like helps. It's beat the YouTube algorithm is what it's all about here. All right, with that, anything else, partner?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Nope.
You seem like you're second-guessing yourself.
No, I think we covered it.
All right, cool. With that, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.